So for Detroit sports this week, the Pistons' playoff fate is now officially set, as we now know how the Pistons will be faring up for the playoffs this year. The Tigers' season continues to roll on, and the Red Wings' fate becomes a very crystal clear, as it'll be another year of going back to the drawing board, figuring out what the fuck is the eyes they're playing still doing wrong. So let's take a look at Detroit sports this week. So starting off with the Red Wings. So the Wings, their week started off with a big game against Montreal with playoff implications on the line. A game the Wings needed to desperately win so bad to start out a 3-game road trip. In fact, the 5 of the Wings' 6 final games are on the road, with their final home game of the regular season against Dallas on Monday. And of course, the game against Montreal, Detroit completely shit the bed in the third period, and let Montreal escape into the damn woods. And that officially ended whatever hope Detroit had the Wings had making the playoffs. And the Wings would add insult to injury by then losing to Florida, getting completely bitch slapped by the Panthers, only to end up getting a win against Tampa Bay in overtime, but that's like finding the TV remote after the house burned down. But of course, that win against Tampa would not be enough to keep Detroit's fate set, as of course the Wings got eliminated on their day off on Saturday, with Montreal losing to Toronto in overtime 1-0, but Montreal got a point in that overtime loss, which means that point officially knocks Detroit out of playoff contention. So with 3 games remaining in the season, the Red Wings have officially been eliminated. And it's now the 9th straight year that the Red Wings have failed to make the playoffs. Jesus fucking Christ. It's safe to say the Wings are officially the worst team in Detroit sports right now. I think it's pretty obvious the Wings are the worst team in Detroit sports, considering that the Lions, Tigers, and the Pistons have all made the playoffs within the last calendar year. That's fucking crazy. Out of every Detroit team that is in the last year, every Detroit team has made the playoffs, except the Red Wings. The Wings are the only Detroit team in the last year to not even make the playoffs. Congratulations, Red Wings fans. Detroit Red Wings are officially the worst team in Detroit sports. Hockey Town is now officially hockey hell. And also, this playoff drought is officially longer than that playoff drought in the 80s, aka the Dead Wings era, when the Wings were a poorly run car crash. Seriously, how the fuck do you end up being more incompetent than the Dead Wings era in the 80s? Like, that takes fucking skill to be bet worse than that. But let's be honest, Eisman's not getting fired, and not much is going to change because of Steve Eisman's last name. Because if his last name wasn't Yzerman, he would have got fucking canned right about now. But yeah, just pretty disappointing season. Only 3 games left. I got a little bit more I want to say about it, but I'm going to wait until later this week when I do the Red Wings and the season recap. And I'll address everything I need to say there. But honestly, Wings, you becoming the only Detroit team in the last year to not make the playoffs and becoming the worst sports team in Detroit, that's honestly, Detroit, Red Wings, that's honestly your biggest accomplishment since winning the Cup back in 2008. Honestly, we should fucking hang a banner for that shit. Just absolutely disappointing for the Wings, yeah. And a lot of people are really gonna start questioning Steve Yzerman's moves. Honestly, I hope that hot seat that Steve Yzerman's on getting warmer. Because it should be. Honestly, Steve Yzerman should be on thin ice heading into the offseason and next year. Now let's go a little bit positive and talk about the Tigers. And if anyone's wondering, yes, this is a Detroit Tigers chain I am wearing. I actually got this as an early birthday present from my mom, since my birthday is actually Tuesday. So yeah, I got a little birthday present. So yeah, nice little chain here. So yes, I can rock the chain game, baby. But yeah, of course, anyway, to the Tigers this week. The Tigers had 2 series this week, both 3-game series against the Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. Start off with the Yankees. Well, the Tigers, they were able to win the first 2 games of the series against the Yankees. bringing much joy to many fan bases in MLB. And allowing everyone to once again say, "The Yankees lose." Only to lose the third game and be denied the sweep. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Too bad we didn't get the sweep against the Yankees. That would have brought so much joy to everybody if the Yankees got swept by the Tigers. Sadly, that was just not meant to be. But hey, they still got a series win. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Still a series win. And then the Tigers take that momentum straight on the road to head to Minnesota. Of course, we all know how much Minnesota hates Detroit sports. Considering the line with the Lions and then the top Pistons and then the Red Wings. In this series, though, there will be no physical altercations like we've seen between the Pistons and the Timberwolves and the Red Wings in the Wild in a couple occasions. And, of course, a couple years ago when Kirby Joseph injured T.J. Hawkinson during that Lions-Vikings game on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. This series was pretty tame for the most part. But the Tigers won into Minnesota and won 2 out of 3 against the Twins. With the Twins getting the final game on the series, but that's honestly like finding a $5 bill after the fucking house burned down. Still got 2 out of 3 against Minnesota, and the Tigers still continue to roll strong at the top of the AL Central. As the Tigers are getting it rolling now, after getting off to a bit of that slow start up in LA against the Dodgers, they've now got it right back on track since then. But keep in mind, it's still early in the baseball season, and the baseball season's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're barely getting started. We're barely 20 games into the year already. Jesus Christ, I can't believe we're almost 20 games into the season already out of 162. It's going by very quickly. Next thing you know, we'll be already at the All-Star break in a couple months. But yeah, that's just how much time flies in baseball. But yeah, really solid week for the Tigers, especially Spencer Torkelson continuing his hot start to the year. Just great week for the Tigers all around to make up for the Red Wings' incompetence. At least one Chris Ilitch-owned team finally was able to get their shit together. What's the Red Wings' goddamn excuse? And this is in before all the Steve Eichmann bots come in the comments to make every excuse in the book for Stevie. Now on to the Pistons this week. And of course, we already know the Pistons were locked in the playoffs, as this week was effectively to decide seeding and get some potential playoff previews in the meantime. Of course, the week started off with the Pistons losing to Sacramento, falling short to the Kings. And that was a game that Sacramento needed to win to try and stay in for the play-in tournament, which Sacramento actually did get in the play-in tournament. They'll be playing Dallas in the 9-10 game. So yeah, that will be an interesting matchup against the Mavericks. Yeah. But the Pistons, though, the one game they did win this week was against the Knicks, which that game could potentially be a playoff preview, as they actually fell behind by double digits early, but the Pistons rallied back and got the win. And the Pistons actually have an advantage over the Knicks going into the playoffs, considering the Pistons won 3 out of 4 meetings this year. And the 3 meetings the Pistons won were the last 3 meetings against the Knicks. As the Knicks' only win against the Pistons was early in the season when the Pistons were still trying to figure shit out and get all the kinks sorted out. But ever since the Pistons got those kinks worked out, the Pistons have had the Knicks number since then. And of course, though, there was the home-and-home against Milwaukee to decide who would get the 5th and 6th seed, and well, that was pretty much decided after the first game, when the Pistons fell to the Bucks in the first game. Which after that first game, that meant Milwaukee would get the 5th seed and the Pistons get the 6th seed, which means Milwaukee gets to play Indiana in the first round, while the Pistons will get the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs starting Friday. Honestly, I think the Knicks are a better matchup anyway. The Pistons struggled this year against the Pacers. I think the Knicks are a better matchup overall, so not the worst case scenario. And the Pistons dropped the second game in overtime in home-and-home against Milwaukee. But let's be honest, that home-and-home kind of meant nothing once the Pistons lost the first game. As the second game against Milwaukee, most of the starters weren't even playing for that game, so that second game didn't really mean anything. it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, the Pistons get that 6th seed. They will play the Knicks in the first round, which means, hi NYG31, remember me? And you're all mine now for 7 games. Looking forward to the Pistons ending that playoff losing streak and getting their first series win since 2008. So yeah, now the Pistons got a chance to end that 14-game playoff losing streak. Can they do it, or will that streak get extended to 18 games? God help us all if the Pistons get swept by the fucking Knicks. But yeah, just, I mean, it was just a pretty disappointing week. I think the Pistons, man, we just trade this week as a test and tune-up session for the playoffs. Because I think it was already set in stone that they were going to be playing the Knicks anyway. But yeah, the playoff field is set, the play-in tournament is set, everything is ready to go on terms of the Eastern Conference. All that's left to decide who the play-in matchups decide who will get to face the Celtics and the Cavs in the first round. A.K.A. who gets the rights to get their asses stomped by Boston and Cleveland in round 1. But the other 2 series could go a lot of different ways. Like, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you right now for the Pistons, I think they have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs under the right circumstances. I mean, hey, at least there'll be no controversy going into the play. Oh, god damn it! What in the fuck is this? What in the hell is Denver doing? Like, I heard rumors about the Civil War going on in the behind the scenes, but firing the head coach and the GM before the playoffs? That's a bold strategy. That's like trying to drive a car off a cliff hoping it can fly. Spoiler, cars can't fly. This ain't Fast and Furious, goddammit. This is the real world. Like, seriously, Denver, if you were gonna clean house after this year, why wouldn't you wait until after the playoffs to do that when Denver gets eliminated? Why would you do that before the fucking playoffs? Like, that's so fucking dumb. It's a bold strategy, folks. Let's see if it pays off for Denver. Of course, though, this will definitely be Denver's last shot for sure, since it seems like Denver's looking to blow it up. As, of course, this Denver's firing comes at a cost. Nikola Jokic, the frontrunner for MVP this year, as Jokic has demanded a trade during the offseason. Pistons, regardless of what happens in the playoffs, do whatever you can to get Jokic into Detroit, goddammit. No, he doesn't need to go to the fucking Lakers. Fuck off with that shit about him going to the Lakers. Fuck off. Lakers don't need Jokic. They literally just got Luka Doncic. Like Luka Doncic is so impactful to the Lakers. He's already got the #1 selling jersey in the league despite being on the Lakers for like only 2-3 months. Jesus fuck. But yeah, that's fucking crazy what happens in turmoil in Denver. But hey, different conference. Not Detroit's problem, not my pig, not my farm. Anyway, on to the playoffs, and on to the New York to face the Knicks. I'm out.